Hi, my name is Listiner Inspires, and I am looking to change the narrative of what trauma and abuse looks like. From shame, silence, and stigma to support and solutions. From hopelessness and rejection to healing and recovery. How do I plan on doing that? By bringing awareness that the problem that goes with not talking about what you've been through, not addressing it, not only affects that individual, but it affects us as a community. It affects us as a society. Hey y'all. It's Listiner Inspires coming at you live with your Teach, Lead, and Heal Teaching Tuesday and Healing Soul Boom podcast. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey. Thank you guys for tuning in. So I am streaming live from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And for those of you who are listening to my podcast, thank you. I do not take your time lightly. Let me introduce myself or reintroduce myself for those of you who might have forgotten. Okay. My name is The Listiner Inspires. I am an award-winning author. I'm also an author of 5 published books, working on my 6th. Oh yeah. I am also the owner and lead creative strategist of Rock Your Rebel Creative Collaborative Consulting Company, where I partner with ministers and ministries alike, where I help them to bring creative content, creative design, and creative strategies, partner that with the vision that God has given them, and taking it a step further by holding them accountable to take actions. Yes, and I'm also, a healing and recovery accountability expert, speaker, workshop, and coach facilitator, where I help those who have gone through childhood trauma and abuse start their healing journey by living and learn how to live beyond the trauma and to live their best healed life. And so that is who I am. That is who I be. That's what I be about, baby. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today, we are talking about resetting your focus. Okay? Resetting your focus on the path of your healing journey and learning how to live beyond the trauma and abuse. And so let me give you a little background of what Teach, Lead, and Heal really is all about. Hey, Becky Boo. And so Teach, Lead, and Heal, I created that and designed it as a platform where I teach, I give content, creative content, inspirational content that teaches individuals who either have experienced childhood trauma and abuse themselves, or maybe you know someone, whether in your family, your close circle, you work with these individuals, teaching you how to live beyond that trauma, how to start your healing journey, by giving you actionable steps, holding you accountable, giving you tools that you can use every day of your healing journey. I am good, love. I am good. How are you? And so that is what Teach, Lead, and Heal is all about. It's just providing knowledge, providing content that not just inspires, but moves you to act on your healing journey, moves you to either you are going to be moved to start your healing journey, you're going to be moved to continue it, or you're going to be moved to go even further and deeper on your healing journey. And so everything I talk about is about healing, whether it's resources, tools. It's all about healing, because that's what I mean. It's all about healing for me. It's important that we live a life that we are healed and delivered and set free and walking in wholeness. But a lot of times we don't know what that looks like. We don't know where to start. Or we hear people talk about healing, and sometimes it's surface level. And so I go deeper with it. I go deeper so that you can understand that healing is a continuous journey, and you don't have to go through it alone. And it's not as hard as you may have thought it was. So just a little commercial spiel for you guys, so you'll know what you're tuning into. And so today's topic is about resetting your focus. And you may be wondering, well, what does focus have to do with living beyond trauma? Well, I'm going to tell you. For most of us who've gone through childhood abuse and trauma, a lot of times one of our coping mechanisms was to find distractions to keep us from having to deal with the triggers or having to deal with the things that we experience. And so distractions kind of became a normal part of our life, whether they're distractions was a person, whether you was distracted by food, whether you're distracted by alcohol, something that you use to kind of numb the pain, to kind of help you to process the pain that was not really healthy. And so, one of the things that I've learned is to recognize when I am using certain things to be a distraction from dealing with how I feel about maybe a certain situation, right? Although I am healed and whole and delivered from the things I've gone through in my childhood, I too still have to remind myself and evaluate myself when it comes to my emotions, when it comes to my mind frame, when it comes to my thought process, because I sometimes can find myself um, almost falling back into old habits because they're so convenient, right? Hey Angela, thank you for tuning in. Make sure y'all share. Even if you pop in, you realize like this is not for me. Share it with somebody else. You don't know who on your timeline has gone through childhood trauma and abuse and may not be in a space to tell anybody, but this might help them. So for me, resetting my focus looks like evaluating how much social media time I'm doing, evaluating how much am I eating, right? And I really think, well, what does that have to do with anything? A lot of times when I'm emotionally just off, when I feel like I'm overwhelmed, maybe I'm experiencing a few different emotions, and emotions, by the way, are not a bad thing, but we should not be led by our emotions. I did a whole teaching on that, by the way, shameless plug. But for me, I have been an emotional eater, and I've used food as a way to distract me when I feel emotions that either I don't want to deal with or process, or I don't know how to deal with the process just yet, right? And so a lot of times I try to do self-evaluation checks. Like, I check in with myself. I pay attention to certain things like, am I eating a high volume of snack foods? Am I watching way more TV than I normally do? Am I trying to am I becoming a busybody where I'm trying to just take on all the things, right? Whether it be in my business at work or whether it be volunteering at the church, right? Do you know that doing good or being a do-gooder can be a distraction from dealing with the things that you need to deal with in your life? Yes. There's nothing wrong with wanting to serve and do good, right? But there's a difference between you're wanting to do good and you're finding every committee, everywhere to serve because you don't want to deal with the things that you need to deal with and process. That could cause more detriment to you than it can good to others. Catch that. That can cause more detriment to you than it can cause good to others. Because you don't want to pour from a space of not being healed and whole, right? You don't want to pour from a place of where you really need to be filled yourself. That's another teaching for another day. We're going to get into this. A question I want you to reflect on. You don't have to answer in the comment section if you don't want to, but if you feel comfortable, I would love to hear your answers. Are you where you want to be? And if not, what needs to change? I ask myself that almost monthly. I'm like, okay, am I where I need to be? Am I where I want to be? How far have I come? Whether it looks like, whether it's on my spiritual walk with Christ Jesus, whether it's on my emotional walk with my emotional well-being, whether it's on my physical walk where it's me being, exercising and eating right, whether it's on my mental walk where I'm like, okay, are we doing good with getting our rest? Are we, these are the things that I evaluate. It has become second nature to me because, as I've stated, healing is important to me. And sometimes I get red flags where I find myself being overwhelmed. Feelings of being overwhelmed is usually a sign that you are doing way too much. Whether it's physically doing way too much or your thought process, you're thinking about way too many things and you're not allowing yourself to process one thought at a time, right? You're not allowing yourself to process one thing at a time. I was a big overthinker, and I can say that's by the grace of God that I'm no longer an overthinker. Those of you who have tuned in, who may have catch the replay, who know me, can testify. Like, I will overthink a thought to the 10th power, meaning like I done thought about every possible scenario to one single thought. Very unhealthy. It's okay to be a planner. It's okay to have strategies, right? Hence why I'm a career strategist. But when it becomes a point where you're starting to think about everything that could possibly happen, that could go wrong, that can go right, and you're trying to prepare and plan. You're trying to prepare and plan for every inevitable thing that could happen. That is not healthy. Angela says, no, I'm not where I need to be. I think what needs to change for me is my mindset about things in my life. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to read it again for those who didn't hear in the back. Angela says, no, I'm not where I need to be. I think what needs to change for me is my mindset about things in my life. That is so good. And I feel like you all in my notes. I know you're not, though, because our focus starts in our mind. Our focus starts in our mind. And resetting our focus has to be a decision that we consciously make. For instance, for those of you, you may have noticed I didn't come on last week. I didn't go live last week. I didn't do my podcast last week. I was tired. Now, I was not overworked. I love my job. I love my business. I love my clients. But I was tired. I'm human, not a robot. I was going to try to press my way and come on anyway, but I wouldn't have given you guys my 100%. So I decided to rest instead. Yeah. It was a conscious decision that I had to tell myself, like, it's okay. You're human. You can rest. I was going to post an old video. I didn't feel like doing it. That's how tired I was. And sometimes you have to step back in order to move forward, right? Sometimes you have to step back in order to move forward, because you cannot be all things to everybody. You can't do all things for everybody, and you can't be all the things for yourself, right? And so for me, I didn't feel guilty about not coming on last week, because I realized that in order for me to produce quality content, I need to also be in a quality state of mind. So resetting your focus can be a powerful tool to help you stay on track with your goals. I'm a big goal person. I usually have high level goals, and then mid level goals, and then bite-sized goals. What that looks like is, for instance, a high level goal will be to publish a book this year, have it published by August 2023, right? That's an example of a high level goal. A mid level goal is to write a chapter a day. A bite-sized goal is write a chapter a day that's about right. A bite-sized goal will be to create memes and promotion to build up the hype for the book. That's an example of something like that. So for me, I'm a big goals person. And so a lot of times what I used to do in the past is, if I wrote down a goal and didn't achieve it, I would beat myself up about it. No, baby. What I do now is, okay, do I need to reset? Is this a high level goal? Is this a high priority in my life right now? Maybe it was when I originally set that goal. And what I do now is I ask God, like, God, what do you want for me in this season of my life? What does this look like for me? Like, this is what the things that I've written down, but what do you want for me? Because I want to make sure that I'm aligned with what God wants for me, right? And so that for me, my relationship with Christ Jesus is priority, is number one. And so I always try my best to make sure that I run this by God, like, hey, is this on track for what I need to be doing in this season of my life? And so I'm gonna look at two areas of how resetting your focus is important on your healing journey when you're living beyond trauma. The how of it is, how do you reset your focus, right? I'm going to start with the how before I start with the why. One of the ways you can reset your focus is to take a few moments of quiet to reflect on where you're at currently. Sometimes we're so busy striving to that high level goals, striving to those things we want in our life, that we have not taken the time in the moment to see where we're at and to enjoy how far we've come, right? Like, you might be thinking, I might have asked you a trick question, or because I asked you where you need to be, right? And if so, why not? And what needs to change? Well, another part of that will be, are you happy where you're at, right? Because a lot of times we're not happy where we're at because we either one or two things. The goals we set or where we're trying to get to, we're so focused on the destination that we're not looking at the play-by-play of how we're getting there, right? Sometimes it's by any means necessary. and by any means necessary can be dangerous, especially if you're not looking at your well-being, you're not thinking of your health, you're not considering yourself. If you have overcome and survived any type of childhood abuse and trauma, you do not want to live a life by any means necessary, unless you're living for Christ Jesus. And we can get into that another time. But the reason I say that, because sometimes it's like all or nothing. I'm gonna make it all or else, or else will come, right? That means you're not giving yourself grace to even live in the moment because you're so focused on the end result. Now, what if you get to the end result and it's not what you think it is? Then what? Right? There's like those of us who might be so focused on success, right? And wanting to get followers and numbers and views and bank accounts increasing, right? Yet we've lost track of living in the moment. We're so busy capturing every moment of our life for others to see, like, and respond and comment, that we are not in the moment to capture the things for ourselves, right? You are missing out on key moments of spending time with people that you love because you're on your phone trying to capture every meal you've eaten, every selfie check, outfit of the day, get ready with me. There's nothing wrong with that if you're a creative content person who this is your bread and butter. But at some point, I hope there's a balance where you're enjoying your life, where you're truly living in the moment with the people you love. I can't tell you how many times I've gone out to eat and I've seen couples and people together who both of the individuals are on their phones. How are you engaging each other if you both on the phone? I understand. I have caught myself doing that where I have to like, okay, girl, wait a minute. Put your phone down. Actually engage around you. You know, me and my sons, we used to have a thing where when it was movie time, put the phones away. Even me, they would catch me sometimes. I would bring the phone into the room like, Mom, put the phone in your room. And what that did was that allowed me to engage in the conversation with them, to be engaged in the movie, to be engaged in that moment, so that the memories I have with them are we enjoyed each other's company. We talked about things. I really got a chance to listen to them. But how often do we do that in our lives, right? How often do we just be present and engaging in the moment? 9 times out of 10, you're not. And so that requires you to reset your focus and think about how important are the people that you are spending time with. And if they are very important to you, then you need to act like they are and start treating them as such by being present fully in the moment. The next how on resetting your focus is identifying what needs to change. Once you can identify, as Angela said, she identifies that her mindset needs to change, right? Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe it's your circle of people. Maybe it's what you do in your spare time. Maybe you need to add some spare time to your day. Whatever it looks like, do an honest deep dive of your life to see where you're at, what you should be doing different, what you could be doing different, and taking the necessary steps to do it. I guarantee you, try one thing a day. Be honest with yourself. You don't even gotta come back and tell me. But if it works, come back and tell me though. For real. I'm just saying. And take an honest deep dive and be like, okay, like for me, I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. I had to take the apps of Instagram and Facebook off of my phone because I was scrolling entirely way too much. And I became way too concerned with how many likes I got, how many views, how many shares, how many comments. And I had to step back and be like, I'm doing this because I want people to be healed. I'm doing this because God has mandated me to teach people on their healing journey, to pour into them, to minister, to inspire, right? So I had started to do it for the wrong reasons. This is me being transparent. So I had to take a step back and be like, okay, yeah, we're going to need to step back. Could I have not deleted the apps and still focused? Let me be real honest. It's on my phone. It's like one of those, like those second nature things. I will find myself if I'm sitting in between the commercial on TV, or if I'm, waiting for the train, or waiting, if I'm in a period of waiting for something in between the next thing, I found myself picking up my phone scrolling. So I had to be honest, like, no, we need to take that app off the phone, period. That's just for me. That's how I have to reset in this season right now. How long will I not have the apps on my phone? Who knows? until I feel like my focus is back to where it needs to be. And I'm not chasing the numbers. I'm not chasing the likes. I'm not chasing the comments. But I am giving intentional content that is going to help people to live beyond their trauma. So however long that takes, period. Now we're going to talk about the why of resetting your focus. Why do you need to reset your focus? First of all, it allows you to identify areas of improvement that you may not have thought about before. You may not have realized that you're not spending quality time with your loved ones because you're maybe just on the grind all the time. And I get it. You got goals, you got things to do, places to be. We all do. But you do not want to miss out on key moments with people you love. You do not want to miss out on, even getting poured into your own stuff because you're so busy trying to grind and do the next thing, right? I'm going to be honest with you. The money's going to be there. But your peace of mind, your health, might not be. Just saying. The second why of why you should be resetting your focus, it helps to clarify your long-term goals. As I said earlier, sometimes our long-term goals need to be shifted and changed because we're no longer who we were when we originally set those long-term goals. And that's okay. That's the thing about goals. They're adaptable. They can be changed. They're not permanent. Okay. And it also keeps you motivated to reach them. So if you realize like, hey, this goal is still pertinent in this area, season of my life, what can I do to start to reach it more? I have a few goals that I had to come back to and realize like I kind of put them on the back burner and actually pushed them to the side because I didn't think they were possible. And I was just like, well, it's okay. And the Holy Spirit had to remind me like, no, this is something that you've always wanted. Why are you just not doing it? Why are you pushing to the side? It's possible. I'm like, oh, you know what's right? It's true. So I brought it back to the forefront, and I can't really share what it is until it happens, but I brought it back to the forefront and I'm working on it actively to make it happen. That was part of me resetting my focus, right? Finally, why it's necessary for you to reset your focus. It helps you stay on track. It keeps you from being distracted. As I stated earlier, those of us who have overcome childhood abuse and trauma use distractions as a way to keep us from dealing with things, the uncomfortable things in our life. And so get back on track. Focus on what you need to focus on. Because by resetting your focus, you can stay focused on the end goal and make sure that you're always making progress day by day, step by step. Now, don't have tunnel vision to the point where you lose sight of the important things around you. Don't just look to that goal and there's nothing else around you that you're paying attention to. But resetting your focus is a key part of your healing journey, and it's key to living beyond trauma because there may be triggers, there may be things that might come up, and you want to make sure that your focus is always one that is conducive to your healing journey. It's conducive to your growth. It's conducive to where you want to be in life. That is all for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, you can, put them in the comment section. I'm still checking my social media periodically. If you don't want to put it in the comment section, I will give you my email and feel free to send an email with whatever questions or concerns you might have about focusing. You may have some questions that maybe I didn't touch on. You may have some tips. But either way, reach out to me. I love to engage and answer questions and talk to you guys because it's not just about me, it's about you. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to be bold, be healed, and most importantly, be you. Period. Trauma and abuse affects everyone, and we all have a part to play to change the narrative with love.